Latest update. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend and colleague I'm looking for another job after she was promoted instead of me? This is the latest update to this story. For the first part, click the link in the description. First and foremost, I didn't get that job. Got a call from my old client contact to say they're going to try and cope with the resources they have in-house for the foreseeable future and see if it's a success. But he stressed they thought I was great. I'm the sort of person they'd recruit if they were going to recruit. So he said he'd keep my CV and details on file, and if it doesn't work 6 to 12 months from now, I'd be first on the list for an interview. I personally think it's all a load of bollocks and I'll never hear from him again. So if I do, I'll eat my own arse. I've also been applying for more jobs. One, a recruitment agent rang me about, and it seemed promising. But as typical UK recruitment agent BS, they then contacted me back not long after saying they didn't go for me, but they'd keep my details on file, get in contact if there's anything suitable, etc., etc. Everything else is no good, either for less money, or if it is okay, too far away in the country to even commute realistically. But I'm keeping my eyes open and am very selective. I've checked out at work now and am doing the basics. I've had enough now, just don't want to be here anymore. I'm doing the minimum this week and also doing my contracted hours, getting in on time, leaving on time, having my exact lunch break, and not eating at my desk. People keep on asking me if I'm okay. I've just said, yeah, I'm fine. Also asking for my usual dad jokes as it's been a couple of weeks, and I've said I don't have any. Our department deputy manager, big boss's deputy, not the recently promoted colleague, came back from holiday Monday and was talking to us all, and they mentioned this work experience person who's coming in next month, and she said the plan was for her to sit with me for the time she's with us and get me to show her things, train her, etc. I said no, I don't think I'm comfortable with it, and to get her to sit with someone else. She asked why, and I said to chat with our manager or the newly promoted colleague about it. She just went quiet and I didn't hear any more. Manager has been working from home, so I haven't seen him. Also, we've been taking in some different work from the whole restructuring thing, and there's this one task/procedure we're going to have to do. A few people in my team were talking about it, including promoted colleague. Instantly, I knew the sorts of things we should do. Create a new database/spreadsheet, get IT to write particular codes, write this sort of report to use, and have people check in a certain way. But I kept quiet. Didn't say anything. Someone asked me, what do you think? This is right up your alley, this. I just said no idea. I think management should look at it. Which kind of ended my input in the conversation. Promoted colleague is now starting to train with the deputy in the tasks that she's going to take over from her and the manager in the restructure. Also, she's been included in the team manager's calls and meetings, and I've seen it all in front of me. Feels like rubbing salt into the wound. I also didn't go to the celebratory meal that was held to celebrate promoted colleague's promotion last night. Deputy manager and another colleague who's been on holiday too decided to book something as soon as they heard about the promotion and said we need an excuse to do something social. I said no, it's my karate class and I'm not missing a lesson. And people were going, no, come. Don't be a Grinch, you can miss a lesson, mate. And weren't really giving me an opportunity to say no, so I said I'll see what I can do. And they were at me all week. And then I just didn't turn up. I had a few WhatsApp messages in the work group chat and texts, but I said sorry, can't leave my class early. I just guarantee they'd be complaining about me, lol. It's my work from home day today myself, and I've not heard from anyone this morning yet, not even to ask me any questions. I think people are catching on now. I dare say when I'm back in next week and manager is in the office, I'll probably be having a sit down with him and the deputy and have another chat. Look forward to it, not lol. Now for the comments. Man, I totally understand. That was two people who were supposed to be on your side who treated you like you were disposable, and now everyone's expecting you to eat crap and like it. Don't do anything so bad that it might affect you getting a better spot somewhere better, but I don't blame you at all for checking out. Good luck. Oh, and that freaking weasel trying to gaslight you into doing extra work for some other fictional promotion is just the crappy cherry on the turd cake also. This drove me absolutely insane. I would be pulled in that Taco Belt and taught how to train people. I ended up training not one, but 3 freaking store managers when they went to different stores. I had no idea, but I wasn't good enough to be a manager. Screw the internal politics BS. Look, I don't think you're wrong. You got screwed. But be careful. You don't want to be perpetually salty. You can't have it both ways. Can't act your wage and then get upset when they train her in front of you. Of course they will. In my opinion, you've had your sook. Now act professional about it all. Yes, do what your contract says, but you're not helping yourself long-term by constantly crapping on everything. People know you're cut about it, and that's normal. But if you keep it up, people will get sick of your act and have no sympathy for you. I get what you're saying, but I'm not doing so well at present. I can't act like I'm this good-natured nothing bothers me guy who cracks jokes and one-liners like I always used to anymore. I spend the majority of my day just wishing it was over and I can go home. I've cried to myself these past few weeks more than I'd like. I can't be all happy for someone else and swallow my pride when I don't have it in me anymore. You need to be stoic in the face of adversity because your coworkers' tolerance will run out and you may not have another job lined up by then. Some of them might even agree with you, but their sympathy can only extend so far. I've been screwed at previous jobs and had to manage my emotional reaction. It helped me leave smoothly when I got a new job, and maintaining coworker relationships helped me in the future. I'm not turning toxic at all. I'm just refusing to do things I'm not paid for and not acting like a jovial clown to keep everyone happy like I always do. There's a reason why comedians and funny men end things, and it's because they can't put the front on anymore. Just like I can't. No, what you have described is exactly like what happens with a toxic work environment. The not doing things you are not paid for is one thing. The way you are doing it proves extreme unprofessionalism. I'm literally just refusing to train anyone, working my hours, and not doing extra technical work a manager should do. That's it. And yeah, I'm not being all life and soul anymore because I just can't. I don't have it in me. I refused to go to a meal I didn't want to do. So what? I actually had plans and don't want to celebrate someone I don't want to and be fake happy for them. Next story. Am I the a-hole telling my family my sister couldn't work with me because of them? I, 28 female, run my own business as a seamstress selling clothes I've made, as well as doing alterations. I've been open for 2 years, and I do a steady business. My primary income from my business is the alterations I do. I have a sister, 29 female, who we'll call Lana. Lana is currently a recovering alcoholic, and I'm trying my best to support her. Due to DUIs, she has been struggling to find a job, and her mental health isn't helping her keep any job she finds. I feel really bad for her, and while we were visiting my parents on Monday, I made the offer she could work for me. When I made the offer, I said that she could work inventory and register like a normal employee. She seemed pretty on board, but said she would have to think about it since she didn't want to leech off me. Our parents were also really on board and encouraging and thought this would be a great opportunity for both of us. Wednesday, my mom called me and asked if the building would now be in both Lana's and my name. I asked her what she meant, and she said since Lana is co-owner, her name should be on the lease. I told her it wouldn't, because she wouldn't be co-owner. I made it clear to my mother that Lana would be like any other employee. The reason I wanted her to work with me is so if she relapsed, she wouldn't risk losing her job again, since I know what she's going through. Mom beat around the bush trying to convince me to make Lana co-owner, and I repeatedly told her no. Not only for Lana's sake, but also for the sake of my business. I don't think Lana would be a bad co-owner, but at this time, she's still fairly unstable and I don't want her to get stressed and fully break her sobriety. I made this clear to my mother in our phone call before she eventually gave up. I thought that was the end of it, and a few hours later, Lana called to ask if I hired her what she would be doing. I told her the same thing I said at dinner, that she would mostly be doing inventory, register, etc. She asked if she would help with any of the clothes, and I told her when she learned to sew I would consider it. She accepted and seemed excited with the arrangement, since both of us have always loved fashion, and we agreed I would host an interview with her at the end of next week on my day off. My dad called me yesterday, scolding me about the position I was putting Lana in, and was telling me a meaner version of what my mother was saying, and continuously trying to hound me to give Lana a higher position. I was getting really frustrated, and I told him that if he and Mom wouldn't stop pushing, I just wouldn't hire Lana at all. My dad called me a terrible sister before hanging up. I called Lana and told her what happened and my words about not hiring her. She got upset with me, and I apologized and told her I still wanted her to work with me. I just didn't want the drama with mom and dad. She understood, but is still upset with me that I would even say that, even in the heat of the moment. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. Ask your dad if he would give away half his business to a drunk sibling who has no experience, because that is what your mother is demanding. Yeah, especially since Lana is currently living with them while she recovers. They know exactly how she's doing and that she isn't fit to run a business. I have no doubt she'll be a great employee since she's always been the type to put her best foot forward in all she does. But with where she is at the moment, I think the stress would make her relapse. Ask your parents why they haven't added her to the deed. She lives there, so she must be a co-owner of the house by default. She doesn't even sew. Why would you give away half your business to a recovering alcoholic? I could see if your parents tried to buy into the business by offering some capital, but just expecting you to share like it's a cookie? I don't understand their thought process. Not the a-hole. Sometimes I wonder if my parents still think we're teenagers, arguing over who gets to drive the family car. As I said in a previous comment, their behavior is really out of the blue, since they've always been really sweet and supportive when it came to my business. I want to believe they might just be misunderstanding something, or maybe they're just stressed trying to help Lana as best they can, and taking that stress out in the wrong places. I'm just hoping this gets resolved before I interview Lana next week. I suspect they know she's going to crash and burn at this job, and their only mental way out of that doomsday scenario is to believe that this is a permanent gig that she can't be fired from. That doesn't excuse what they've done, however. That might be it. I know previously my mom had told me how worried she was about Lana going job to job. I think I'm going to have a family talk with them after the weekend is over, and hopefully I'll find out where this is all coming from and how to deal with it. Last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to become my dad's legal guardian, even though my family wants me to? I, 25 female, have a very complicated relationship with my biological dad, 53 male. He was never really present in my life. When I was a kid, I would see him every other weekend, but 80% of the time he was drunk and passed out. 10% he just never showed up. And the other 10% he was actually fun to be around. He never came to any of my school plays or events, except my high school graduation. My stepdad has always been there for me. He always showed up to every event, supporting me, giving me advice, and basically being the father figure in my life. My biological dad has struggled with addiction and mental health issues for years, and it's gotten worse in the last 10 years. He hasn't paid rent in a while. His apartment is often filled with alcohol cans, cigarettes, and even cat and dog poop. He's tried to hurt himself several times. He's currently hospitalized. Me and my dad's side of the family have always picked up after him after being hospitalized, such as cleaning his apartment, visiting him, and emotionally supporting him. He's tried stopping his addiction. We've talked to his social worker, but his psychiatrist keeps saying that he's all fine. A while back when he broke his hip, one of my aunts got upset at me because I didn't bring him groceries or cook for him. Instead, I contacted social workers and meal services to try to get him help, but he refused it. Now my family is talking about going to court to have him declared incapable of making decisions, so someone would be appointed to handle all his medical and financial decisions. My uncle suggested it should be me because I'm his daughter. And I'm almost certain he's going to ask me to let my dad live with me if he loses his apartment. The thing is, I don't want this responsibility. I also don't feel like he's ever really been a parent to me. I feel guilty, but I also know being his guardian would completely drain me emotionally and financially. I also feel bad because he's my dad, so I do feel like I have some sort of responsibility to help him out. I said that I don't feel confident taking this legal role, but I'd be okay helping in other ways if needed. One of my family members offered to take that role and said she wouldn't mind. But I'm scared that my family will see me as heartless and selfish, and I'm scared they'll cut me off if I say no. Am I the a-hole for refusing to become my dad's legal guardian? Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Your aunts and uncles should have protested this loudly when he wasn't involved in your life as a child. They are reaping what they've sown. Now my family is talking about going to court to have him declared incapable of making decisions, so someone would be appointed to handle all his medical and financial decisions. If the family wants to go through with this, then good on them. They should also be the ones to take accountability for him once they declare him incapable of making decisions. If you read this OP, don't participate in the process of declaring him incapable in any way. Keep your name, opinions, and perspectives as far away as possible. They can't just force a decision on you like this, and if they're the group who is filing to make this happen, then they are the ones who have to take ownership of him. My grandmother was also an alcoholic, and she was declared incompetent by the courts. Her brother did all the work, and all my mom and her siblings had to do was sign a form stating that they were not going to be her caregiver, that her brother would. They can't force you to take care of him. On another note, I am no contact with my father because he is my abuser. So when it comes time he needs help, the state he lives in will have to deal with it, because I will not lift one finger to help him. I will not even bury him when he dies. He will be the state of South Carolina's problem. I live in another state and they have no laws saying I have to provide for him in his old age. Your father is reaping what he sowed. Block them all and move on with your life. Not the a-hole. Just because he sired you does not mean you owe him your life. He has not been a father to you. He has not taken care of you and has chosen drugs and alcohol over you for your entire life. His bad decisions do not obligate you to ruin your life to support him now. As for how your family views you, does it actually matter? Are you willing to set your entire life on fire for possible decades, just so some people have a warm fuzzy when they think of you? As for them possibly cutting you off, where was that energy towards him when he was being a trash parent to you when you were a literal child? Do not set yourself on fire just to keep the man, who chose drugs and alcohol over everyone else, warm. I wonder if they actually know how my dad was to me when I was a kid. I've never visited that side of the family other than Christmases. I don't know if they know that my dad was asleep every week and just not really present. He told me things that I should have never known as a kid too. Stuff about my mom or himself. Update. Am I the a-hole for financially screwing over my sister after finding out she's close with my ex and his wife? For the first part of this story, click the link in the description. This will be my first and only update. So I spoke to my sister again. She apologized for reacting that way the last time, also for keeping it from me all these years. She said she didn't tell me because she knew I would ask her to choose, and she didn't want to be in that position. She said she never wanted to hurt me, but at the same time, she couldn't bring herself to walk away from the people who had been there for her. She said it never felt fair to cut him off completely. Growing up, our parents were barely around. They were always busy with work. And for a long time, it was just me and my ex who were actually present in her life. He was like family to her. Then she brought up the accident she was in around 5 years ago. I knew about it, of course. She had multiple fractures, hematomas, and internal bruising. She was in the hospital for a while and bedridden for weeks. I always assumed our parents were taking care of her. I never asked, and I never really checked in. I was too busy trying to manage a recent divorce, a small child, a career, and whatever was left of my mental health. She said it was my ex's wife who stepped up. She took her to every appointment, picked up prescriptions, brought food, helped her move around, stayed with her when she couldn't be alone. And at one point she said, "I know it hurts you, but she was there. He was there. You weren't. You didn't even come to the hospital. I thought I was gonna die and you didn't even show up." She cried while telling me all this. She said she still wants a relationship with me, but she's not going to cut them off. She also said she's fine with me not helping her with the loans anymore. She's planning to get a part-time job and figure it out herself. She told my ex and his wife about our conversation. Apparently, they offered to help her financially, but she turned it down too. I just listened. Then I told her she's free to do whatever she wants, and so am I, and to never call me again. So that's where we are. Haha, you didn't even ask if your sister was dead? With family like you, who needs enemies? I had a 5-year-old, a full-time job, and a brain that was barely holding it together. I texted her, but no, I didn't go to the hospital. I assumed our parents were taking care of her. I was wrong. I'm not defending it. Nothing in her explanation excuses or addresses why she would befriend the woman your ex cheated with before her accident. She said they weren't friends before the accident. She was cordial to her. They only became close after the accident. You still weren't the a-hole though, in case you wondered. Exactly. Sister wanted to find a way to excuse her betrayal by putting it on OP. This woman must take great pleasure in luring a husband and sister away from OP, getting them both to deceive her, whose family she helped destroy. So you were left cleaning up the mess that your ex and his hoe created. She steals him, then comes for your sister? Nah, this was a calculated move on his side piece's part. I'm glad you cut your sister off, and shame on your ex and affair partner. They know what they're doing. Hope your sister thinks it's worth it. Absolutely agree with you. This wasn't some random coincidence. It was calculated and messy from the start. Cutting off your sister was the right call. Anyone who disrespects you like that doesn't deserve a seat at your table. Let them enjoy the chaos they created. You did the right thing. Next story. Am I the a-hole for only wanting a relationship with my grandson and not his half-sister? I, 55 female, lost my daughter Amy to an accident 2 years ago. Amy was married to Daniel, and they had my grandson Kai together, who is now 8. Daniel met his current partner a year after Amy died, and they welcomed a baby in May of this year. Ever since the birth of his daughter, Daniel has had an issue with us wanting time with just Kai. Daniel was upset when we didn't go to his and his partner's baby shower. He was upset we bought nothing for his baby, and he was even more upset when we didn't come to the hospital to meet his baby. We were taking care of Kai while Daniel's partner was giving birth, and Kai wasn't even allowed per the rules of the hospital. Daniel still expected us to take turns visiting his child, who he called our newest grandchild. My husband and Daniel had a conversation about that title and the expectation that his new child was our grandchild. He told my husband he didn't see why Kai should be the only kid to get grandparents, and he said we only had one child and one grandchild, so we should be happy to have even more grandchildren from him and his partner. My husband told Daniel we would be nice to his daughter when we saw her, but Kai was still our only grandchild. Daniel threatened to stop us from seeing Kai afterward, and then he did some research and learned we would have a case for grandparents' visitation if he did this. So he has been attempting to force his partner and daughter into our lives more regularly, in an attempt to make us treat them like a daughter or daughter-in-law and granddaughter. Last week, Kai told me he misses spending time at our house and having sleepovers. Even before Amy died, we would have him overnight, etc. Now it's Daniel's whole family when we see Kai, and he attempts to make us focus only on Daniel's daughter. I asked Daniel to consider a sleepover for Kai soon, and he asked me why I wasn't making the offer for his daughter. I told him Kai is my grandson, and I care very much about maintaining a good relationship with him. Daniel asked me if I only wanted a relationship with Kai and not his daughter. I said yes. I told Daniel that he needs to understand that Kai is Amy's, and she was our only child, and we already lost her. He told me it wasn't fair, and he released a lot of frustration, which I sat and listened to. Then he told me, fine, I won. Kai wants to be with us without the rest of them anyway, so we win. He then told me he hoped I could live with myself when his daughter and any future children felt like crap, because they weren't good enough in our eyes to be our grandchildren too. I felt he was unfair, but he made himself perfectly clear that he felt my husband and I were not good people. He did bring Kai for a sleepover all weekend, which Kai loved, and he spent the day at our house yesterday too. But again, Daniel let it be known he felt my husband and I were not good people. Am I the a-hole? I have a half-sister, but the only grandparents we share are on our father's side. She doesn't have a relationship with my mother or my mother's side of the family, and while I have a relationship with her mother, since her mother is my stepmother, I don't have one with my stepmother's relatives. And that's perfectly fine with everyone involved. I'm not biologically related to them, so I'm not their responsibility. It's all about personal relationships. People connect differently, and it's okay to have boundaries, especially after such a profound loss. Exactly, and relationships that happen organically and aren't forced are the ones that thrive. Not the a-hole. Does his new baby not have other grandparents? Even if it doesn't, that's not your responsibility. Your grandson may have extra grandparents, but he has lost his only mummy. No other grandparents involved, but she does have an aunt. Well, there's your answer. They want all the things grandparents provide. Babysitting, free stuff, babysitting, babysitting. Did I mention babysitting? And yeah, to a degree I get it. Not having really any outside help and 2 kids, that's a lot. But also, any potential chance he did want to develop that type of relationship with you guys has been dashed by him trying to demand and force it. Doesn't work like that. Set up a trust for Kai and make sure you document everything. Daniel probably wants you to pay for his daughter's college too, etc. Or house down payments for all of them. You are right, and the new wife should be delighted she has the help with her stepson. Just stick to your own sense of things, which is correct. Polite but don't budge. Not the a-hole. We did this already. Anything Amy would have gotten will now go to Kai, and we're making sure to protect it, so it will only be Kai's and not anyone else's. Please make sure an attorney has it set up, so it can't be used to purchase a new larger home for the entire family, under the guise it is housing Kai. I know someone who had this happen. It will be 100% secure, and Daniel will never be in charge of it or have access to it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my half-siblings I will never regret choosing to live with my grandparents over them and their mom? I, 33 male, lost both of my parents by the time I was 10. My mom when I was 5 and my dad when I was 9. My dad had remarried and had a kid with his wife, and they had another on the way when he died. My grandparents and my dad's widow fought for custody of me, and because I wanted to be with my grandparents, they won the custody battle. I didn't spend a lot of time with my half-siblings back then, and I resisted playing happy families with them and their mom. She wanted me with them and felt like I belonged with them, but I felt like I belonged with my real family, and luckily that's where I was. For years, I had no contact with my half-siblings at all. This all changed 3 years ago when they reached out and said they wanted to know me and have me in their lives. We talk once a month and DM a little in between. They want the relationship with me more than I do. But even more than that, they have expressed on a number of occasions that they feel like the courts made the wrong decision and that my choice was wrong. They keep looking for me to regret the choice, and they have mentioned several times that their mom has longed for a relationship with me and misses me. A few times, they called their mom my mom. I corrected them and always made it clear I never considered her my mom. They never understood this and questioned me on it, and I always answered. Last time we talked, they told me they need to hear me say I regret choosing to live with my grandparents over them and their mom. They said it's something that haunted their family for years, and they need to know if I could go back, I'd make a different decision. I told them that would be a lie, and I have never regretted it. I told them being raised by my family was better than being raised by the woman my dad married. I said I never thought of her as a parent or as my family. They asked me how I could get to my age and have kids. I have 3 and still feel that way. They told me being raised by a parent would have been better than being raised by grandparents. I said if I had a parent, then yes, but I didn't. Both my parents are gone and their mom was never one of mine. Then they had me confirm my lack of regret, and they said I was freaking cold and should have a heart, considering their mom fought so hard for me and loved me as her own. I refused to apologize, and they were more than happy to talk at me for hours about how awful I am. Instead of listening, I ended the call. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. They're mad you didn't trauma bond with their mom just because she wanted to be your mom. You were a grieving kid, not a consolation prize. Choosing your grandparents wasn't cold, it was choosing love and stability. They need therapy, not your regret. And in all honesty, they would not have had a very good life if I had lived there. I'd have been so bitter to be raised by her. Maybe she would have eventually put me in foster care when she realized I didn't want to be with her. So we have no idea if the fantasy would become reality. Not the a-hole. As you said, she is not your parent, and there was no reason for you to want to live with them when you had loving grandparents willing to raise you. You have a right to your feelings and them to theirs. However, trying to pressure you to express regret on something you obviously don't, it's a bit manipulative and entitled, and it is weird they keep insisting on it. They likely grew up hearing their mom talk about the custody battle. The fact she saw me as her son and how much it hurt her to have me leave. So I can understand it to a point, but the fact I have not desired a relationship with their mom now should tell them where I stand on this today. Still, they are adults now and should respect your feelings, not understand because they are obviously not in your shoes and cannot know what you've been through with losing both your parents so young. However, they are old enough to understand life is not simple, and choices you might think are good for someone, in that someone's eyes they are not. So they are angry because their fantasy and your reality don't match. Yes, and really, it is a fantasy. They have no idea how it would have turned out if she had won. Last story. Am I the a-hole for letting daycare call CPS when my soon-to-be ex-husband failed to pick up our toddler from daycare? We're in a trial separation. He wants half custody. It's been several months, and it was the 8th time daycare has called me because he was unable to pick up our toddler. Sometimes he was just a no-show, and the daycare would call me because it had already been half an hour since their official close time. Every time the daycare is mad at me for making them stay overtime, and we're charged $2 per minute for being late. They threaten to call authorities and CPS if we keep doing this. I tried to explain the problem, but daycare doesn't care, as they shouldn't. Well, last week it happened again, and I told daycare to go ahead and call the authorities and CPS. My soon-to-be ex-husband showed up an hour late and met our toddler there with the cops. Daycare also threatened to kick our toddler out. Again, understandably so. My soon-to-be ex-husband was so mad and said I was a cruel mother for abandoning our toddler. I told him I warned him multiple times in the past, and issues only arise when he has custody. We switch each week, trialing house swap too. I told him repeatedly that if he cannot get out of work reliably, he needs to hire a babysitter or nanny, and he cannot rely on me as his primary backup. I'd get it if it was like once or twice a year, or if babysitter or nanny plans fell through. But if I'm his ex-wife and he has custody, he shouldn't depend on me as his primary backup. And I also felt bad about leaving our toddler. But if we separated, this would only keep happening, and I felt short-term pain might be worth the long-term gain. I feel bad our toddler is caught in the middle, but was I the a-hole for letting daycare call CPS? Relevant details. We both have high-paying jobs, but I intentionally do not schedule myself to work late on days I have him, or I have a nanny and babysitter ready. Now with a trial separation, I have cut down to half-time. I work half days on the days I have our toddler so I can spend time with him, and work long days on days I'm child-free. He has made no changes to his schedule. Not the a-hole. If he wants to share custody, he needs to do the work half the time or deal with the consequences like an adult. Can't play weekend dad and expect full credit parenting. Share the kid, share the responsibility, or don't bother. Exactly, but if he's like this, chances are he's only insisting on shared custody to get out of paying child support. Please be careful that you don't screw yourself over with this. Yes, your soon-to-be ex should have consequences for failing to care for your son by not picking him up from daycare during his parenting time. However, you may not be helping yourself on the upcoming custody battle by telling the daycare to go ahead and call CPS. Instead, go pick your son up every single time and document it. Ask the daycare to call your soon-to-be ex before calling you and to keep a record for you of how many times he has to be called because he is late or no shows. Use that documentation of your soon-to-be ex's irresponsibility in making sure your child is cared for to get full custody of your son, limited visitation, and full child support. I'd lose my job if I keep calling out in place of him. How will you manage your work commitments if you get full custody? The current situation is clearly not working and it's negatively impacting your child. Your husband is unlikely to get better, so you need to think of a new plan. I'd use child support for a part-time nanny. I have a stay-at-home mom friend right now, who I pay to get my child if my day runs long. Would be abnormal because the weeks I have him, I only do shorter days. I'm done usually by 2 p.m., but she's there as my part-time nanny to help me out if I run late. Her kids are older. Am I the a-hole for wanting some space from my daughter after she believed I was an abuser? Basically, I-41 male was accused of sexually assaulting her 16 female friend 17 female. She's known her just over a year, so I've known her for the same amount of time. She tried to kiss me. I turned her down, and as a result, she accused me of violating her. It went on for a few weeks, and even went to the police, and it only came out when they were grilling her and she finally admitted it. She was victimized, but it was her mom's boyfriend, and she went with accusing me because I was the safe option or some nonsense like that. When my daughter found out at a time, and I was being investigated though, she cut me off. Basically, didn't even want to talk to me or see me. I tried to pick her up to come over, but she said she didn't even want to see me. My ex wouldn't even let me in the house. Even she believed it. And her brother, my ex-brother-in-law, physically beat me and removed me from the house because I wouldn't go until I seen my daughter. Worst thing was, she blocked me in social media. But before she did, she put a status on her social media just saying some bollocks like "believe women," which freaking hurt. In my daughter's eyes, I was a criminal and I assaulted her friend. So now it's all came out and I'm cleared. She rang me up to say she wants to come over to talk. But I said no, I don't think it's a good idea. It hurt me when she didn't believe me, so I want to just think for a bit until I forgive her. My ex then rang saying how hurt my daughter is because I won't forgive her. She tried to apologize too, and I told her I don't accept her apology either, and that I don't want to talk to her either. They're not stopping texting me though, and my daughter tried to come over and was banging my door asking to come in, crying. I pretended I wasn't in. Am I the a-hole for wanting some space because I don't know if I can forgive her yet? Edited to add because people keep on asking, why were you alone with a 17-year-old? I wasn't really alone with her. They were both staying at my house. I went for a wee in the middle of the night, and she was waiting outside a toilet door and scared me a bit coming out. I laughed it off, and she basically lunged trying to kiss me. I laughed it off, told her no, and went back to bed. I didn't really pay it any more attention, and truth be told, forgot about it. Now for the top comments. How are you holding up? Please take care of yourself. Truth be told, not very good. This happened to me, but accuser was my friend's now wife, who got drunk off her butt, cheated, then told everyone I drugged her. And that's why she did it. Blood tests proved she was just drunk, while cameras showed her leading some dude into bar toilet, and me nowhere to be seen. She was dumb enough to post on social media, and police ran a talk screen a day or so later, and pulled camera footage. It's been 15 years, and most people that know still believe her cause, hey, believe women, and I'm some predator that drugged her. I threatened legal action. Her and her husband did attempt to apologize once after deleting all social media posts about it. I asked for an equal Facebook post to the one blaming me. They declined. Things got heated and it got a black eye. I refused to speak to them or any of my old group of friends since. If the betrayal I felt was anything to go by, and yours was from your own daughter, which would hurt orders of magnitude more, you're not the a-hole. Where's the brother-in-law here? That dude had have called police on. That he chose to marry such a woman just shows that he's an incurable idiot. He deserves every miserable hour he's married to that lying skank. She's had liposuction plus boob lift, plus glammed up. She's now a lady. He's an only child and his parents are quite well off. He's going to lose everything the moment they die and money comes to him. He'll get his own soon enough. Take all the time you need to heal from this disturbing and traumatic experience. Having your family not believe you is such a betrayal. To top it off with a social media post must have been gutting. Not only did she believe her friend with no proof, she's also was ready to announce to the world that you're guilty. Legally, can you do anything about the fake allegation as well as the physical assault from your ex-brother-in-law? I would scorch the earth. Don't worry about your ex-wife. Ignore that witch. The only thing I want to do about my ex-brother-in-law isn't exactly legal. I do the same thing as you. I just tell them I'll come to you all when I'm ready to talk if that time should ever come, and not the other way around. This is exactly it. Actions have consequences. Some things there is just no coming back from. This might be one of them. It's sad because they may be the end of their relationship. People will now likely not believe the friend's actual trauma because she lied about OB. She has made her own situation worse and made it worse for other victims. It is hard enough for victims of SA to come forward, but lies like this are the reason people question crimes like SA in a way they'd never question burglary, etc. She will learn a very harsh lesson, and Opie and his family are suffering for nothing. Now for the mini update. I've messaged her saying basically I'm still too hurt to want to talk, and I need time and space. And then I'll let her know when I want to get in touch. I also said I still love her, despite not really being sure if I should say that, when I am not sure if I can forgive yet. I've also messaged my ex, saying to make sure she or my daughter don't contact me again until I'm ready. Not heard anything back yet, but hopefully I won't. Someone on here said I should look into a holiday, which really isn't a bad idea, so I'm currently looking into places I can go for a week or so, and might book some time off work. Next story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to drop the charges against my adopted dad's ex-stepdaughter? Long story short, I was raised by a single mom in crushing poverty until I, now 44, was 13. My mom got remarried and I was eventually adopted by her husband. He and his family were like winning the step/adoptive family lottery. Literally changed my life. As far as I knew, Dad's nephew and I were the only children in Dad's family. Years later, I found out more details. Dad was married and had a daughter, Ashley, now early 50s. When Ashley was 14, her mom filed for divorce and moved in with her affair partner. She told Dad she had been cheating their entire relationship and he wasn't Ashley's biological father. Her affair partner had been married their entire relationship, and when his wife died, he wanted Ashley and her mom to move in. DNA testing was expensive and not common for paternity at the time, but Dad was excluded as Ashley's father by blood type. Ashley's mom had known since shortly after her birth that Dad wasn't her biological father because of their blood types. Ashley and her mom moved in with affair partner and his children in the home he had previously shared with his wife. They requested that Dad neither pay child support nor have visitation. Ashley was 15 or 16 by then, and she wrote Dad a letter asking him to leave her alone and let her build relationships with her biological family. He did as she requested, and they never reconnect as father and child after that. As far as I know, they never spoke again. Ashley's mom wanted a quick divorce and property settlement. Dad got the house and contents. Ashley's mom got cash. I barely knew Ashley existed until Dad died. Dad's will specifically mentioned her, denied her as his biological child. I'm pretty sure he was never removed from her birth certificate, and expressly stated that she was to get nothing from his estate. When she got notice that she was disinherited, she contacted me. Initially, she was very pleasant and asked if she could have some heirlooms that her mother had left behind in a divorce. I wasn't necessarily opposed and asked her to send me a list of items. She never provided a list and wanted to come look around and find stuff. I declined. Over the past 5 years, she has become increasingly more aggressive and volatile. Turns out, affair partner wasn't her biological father either. His family had a bit of money and paid for DNA testing in the early 1990s, after Ashley was an adult. His parents and grandparents wouldn't pay for her college or include her as a grandchild in their wills without proof she was biologically related. She wasn't included in affair partner's will because she wasn't his biological child. She is very angry. She feels cheated. She has no idea who her biological father is. Her mom swore on her deathbed that affair partner was her dad, and the DNA test was wrong. She leaves me alone for a while and then starts showing up at my house and job, ranting and carrying on about how I stole her life, her inheritance, her childhood home. She refers to me as the replacement. Eventually, I involved the police and she's been charged with remaining after forbidden and/or disturbing the peace 10 times. She escalated to property damage, and I finally had grounds for a restraining order. She violated it multiple times and was charged with misdemeanor violation of a protective order a couple of times. The last time they charged her with a felony. Now she's worried that a felony could impact her job. She wants me to drop the charges. Am I the a-hole for refusing to drop the charges against her? Now she's worried? Now, after all of this, not the a-hole. Don't drop the charges. OP, if you let her off again, she's only going to escalate. She's finally about to suffer a real consequence, and that has her scared, but not remorseful about what she's done. Also, you didn't do this to her. She did it to herself. She had plenty of warnings. Not the a-hole. She's stalking you and it's alarming. So it's fine for her to trespass, cause scenes at your home and job, but when her own job is supposedly at risk because of her outrageous behavior, you're expected to help her out? Don't fall for it. Ask the prosecutor and court to hold her fully accountable. Do not drop these charges. She will just start up again. Sadly, she did get screwed over by a lot of people, but not your problem. She mainly got screwed over by her mom sleeping with multiple men and not knowing who her father is. Poor woman. OP has actually indicated if she has done a 23andMe kit or similar and did a little legwork to see if she may be your father's actual daughter or her mom may have lied on her deathbed and there was more than the two men. I don't know what she has done as far as DNA testing. My dad was blood tested by the court and excluded as her father as a man with his blood type couldn't possibly be the father of a child with hers. Honestly, you're definitely not the a-hole here. Ashley sounds like she's just trying to blame you for her own issues, and it's super unfair for her to harass you like that. Like, girl, you didn't steal her life. Her mom did that. You have every right to protect yourself and keep those charges. If she didn't want consequences, she shouldn't have acted like a total mess. It's wild how she thinks she can just waltz in and demand you drop everything after all that drama. Stay strong. I literally feel terrible for her. Everything good in my life is because of Dad and his family. I never would have gone to college without their financial support. I probably wouldn't have even finished high school if my life hadn't changed so drastically. I can't imagine where I'd be in life if they hadn't taken me in. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my father because he disowned me after knowing that I wasn't his biological child? So let's get into it, I guess. Almost a decade ago, my dad found out that my mom cheated on him with another guy years ago through my mother's sister. My mom and aunt weren't in good terms, so she told Dad everything. My parents fought over this and Dad filed for divorce. We all got DNA tested, and out of 3 children, I was the only one who wasn't his. It felt so bad to know that your dad who raised you for almost 16 years wasn't really your dad. That didn't feel as bad as him kicking me out of his house when I was begging him not to. I wished I could just end myself when he disowned me. My mom went into a depressive state and would just spend all day in bed and would just get out to use the toilet. My grandparents lived in a different state, but they did everything they could to make our lives better. I needed to come home from school, do all the chores in the house, and tend to my mom and check on her. I did everything that could possibly be done to make sure we lived. I would ask my mom who my real dad was, but all I got was screaming or a hit. My siblings and grandparents from Dad's side tried to make things right between me and Dad, but he wouldn't budge. Apparently, I was just a reminder that Mom cheated on him and nothing else. I remember my 17th birthday when no one remembered that it was my birthday. I cried to the point where I didn't have any tears left. Even when I graduated from high school, only my grandmother came. Why didn't my feelings matter to anyone? Why was I supposed to endure this? After I returned from my graduation, I told my mom that I was leaving if she doesn't tell me who my real dad is, and this time she did tell me who he was. I met him after finding where he lived. I discovered that I have a half-brother, and that my real father was a widower and a doctor. He didn't know that I existed or the fact that my mom was married. It took us time, but we built a bond and he helped me get through college and he walked me down the aisle. He even got Mom some help and I am forever grateful to him. Well, present time me, I 26 female, was married to my lovely fiancé last week and I didn't invite my ex-dad to my wedding. He tried to contact me before the wedding, but I don't want anything to do with him. My siblings and grandparents from ex-dad's side say I am wrong and that he wanted to come and make things right. But I don't want to make things right. He had a right to abandon me, so I have a right to do the same. He isn't my father. He was once upon a time, but not now. I understand that he was hurt, but I was hurt too. Everyone tells me to let go of the grudge, but I just don't want him in my life. And no, I won't give him another chance. My husband understands, but no one else seems to understand what I had to go through to get to where I am now. He cannot just come to my life 9.5 freaking years later and expect things to be alright. Am I the a-hole? Now for the comments. I don't blame you at all for not inviting him. He made his choice when he disowned you, and that caused a deep hurt that doesn't just go away. You've already rebuilt your life and found a real father figure who supported you. You have every right to protect your peace and keep him out. It's not about holding a grudge, it's about making sure you don't let someone back in who caused you so much pain. You owe him nothing, especially not forgiveness on his terms. You're so right. It's not about being bitter, it's about protecting yourself from more pain. Nobody should have to forgive just because someone suddenly wants back in. The father isn't trying to reconcile because he loves or misses the OP. OP was an emotional and financial liability when she was kicked out all those years ago. The father didn't want the responsibility of caring or to spend one thin dime on the OP for food, clothing, or college. Now that OP has been to college, has a nice job and a nice partner that could help feed and drive the father to his doctor's appointments when he gets too old to care for himself, suddenly the OP is seen as a genuine asset. The father is just at the age where his own parents are needing more of him, and it's making him reconsider who he has to support himself in his old age. Not the a-hole. Tell everyone that you aren't holding a grudge and don't wish him ill. That you're just unwilling to reopen a wound that you've worked so hard to start healing. That you need to remain no contact in order to continue your healing journey, so you wish him peace, but your paths diverged 10 years ago and will never meet again. Why would he just abandon her and decide he wants to fix things after 9 years when she already has her life sorted out, after he ghosted her when she needed him the most? He made crystal clear he didn't want to be part of your life. Let him live forever with the consequences of that decision. OP's father took the decision that was best for him 9+ years ago. Now she's taking the decision that is best for her now, not the a-hole. Unfortunately, the decision he made was not the best for him in the long run. While it was made at a time when his emotions ran amok, as a grown adult who had raised this child for 16 years, he had ample time to rectify the situation. He failed to do so and relinquished his right to have a place in her life. Not the a-hole OP. However you proceed, do so in the fashion you're comfortable with. Congratulations on your marriage and finding your bio dad.
Am I the a-hole for posting about my 29 female engagement and pregnancy on Facebook, despite knowing that my ex 32 male is struggling with infertility? Hi all. I've kind of accepted that I might be the a-hole here, but my fiancé says I'm not. I wanted a second opinion. For context, my ex, Kevin, 32 male, and I have a child together that I put up for adoption when I was 22. I did it largely because I didn't want to have a child with Kevin. He had a really bad temper, he was pretty irresponsible, and neither of us had steady jobs at a time. I supported us through freelance writing, but being pregnant meant that I didn't get many of the jobs I had before. I knew that neither of us would be good parents, and that relinquishment was the right choice. But if he had told me he wanted to keep the child, I wouldn't have fought him on that. When the time came, he signed the relinquishment papers without argument. Our daughter is now 7, and she seems very happy with her adoptive parents. So while the situation does still cause me pain every once in a while, I can't complain about the outcome. Kevin and I eventually broke up when he cheated on me with his current wife, Stacy, 25 female. I wasn't that torn up about it because we were honestly only staying together because of the trauma we both shared. I have since found stable work as a software engineer and recently bought a house with the extra money. My fiancé Lex, 34 male, knew this about me from the first time we met. Thankfully, it wasn't a deal breaker for him. We started dating when I was 27. I'm 29 now, and he proposed about a month ago. I accepted. Then we found out I was 3 months pregnant about a week after he proposed, which was a shock to both of us because I'm on long-term birth control. Despite the circumstances, we're overjoyed and have decided to keep the baby. Since we already passed the first trimester before we discovered I was pregnant, we decided to announce the engagement and the pregnancy at the same time. My ex flipped out. He got my number from my mom and started blowing up my phone. He told me that I forced him to put our child up for adoption. I didn't, and that I don't deserve to have a child now, knowing that I abandoned our firstborn. I blocked him. He bought burner phones. Then his wife started getting in on it, vacillating between crying and screaming at the voicemail she sent. It got so bad I had to change my number. Lex is telling me that all of this is bananas, and that if Kevin was really ready to become a parent, he would have put his foot down when the time came. My mother, on the other hand, says that I should be more compassionate towards them. A part of me doesn't want to be compassionate towards either of them. As selfish as this seems, I feel like I was the one who primarily struggled with the adoption, but like Kevin didn't support me at all through the entire event. I also have to admit I knew about their infertility struggles and didn't care. Am I the a-hole here, guys? I don't think any of this would have happened if I didn't announce it on Facebook. Now for the top comments. Honestly, OP, I am very glad that you made the right decision to get your first child adopted. A child deserves a stable home and parents who can take care of him or her. Your current pregnancy is none of Kevin's business. As for your mother, you better tell her clearly that she's not to give out your number to anyone without your consent. Kevin sounds like both him and his wife need serious therapy. Their infertility is their problem, not yours. Congrats on a new baby and best wishes. I want to send them a text being like, and now we all know why I decided to give our child away, but that feels mean-spirited. No, don't waste your time, OP. Kevin is not part of your life anymore. The guy has serious problems. You have changed your number and now you need to concentrate on your own pregnancy and make sure you stay healthy. You have your own life now. She also needs a restraining order against X and his wife because they don't sound like the most well-balanced beings on the planet. Not stay home, but I'd get a restraining order against Kevin and his wife and tell your mom to stay out of your business. Ditto. The burner phones and voice messages are stalking behavior. Your safety could be compromised. Also, you are allowed to announce happy things going on in your life. Their response is about them. They're just looking to blame you. Finally, congratulations on the engagement and pregnancy. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my fiancé he committed theft by gifting his nephew the gift I bought for my sick brother? My female 30 brother, male 16, was born with a heart condition that prevented him from living his childhood to the fullest and doing his favorite activities. He can't do most things due to his condition and the side effects his medications have on him. My parents have always struggled with money because of medical bills, and unfortunately they cannot afford to buy my brother nice things. For example, he always wanted a console to play with. He only gets to play when my uncle and cousins visits and bring their console. My brother has been feeling sad and lonely recently after his doctors recommended that visits be limited. I decided to use my salary to get him his own console and wait till Christmas to give it to him. I bought an Xbox and it has been sitting in my closet until I discovered that my fiancé took it and sent it to his nephew who lives states away. I was in dismay. I confronted him about it, asking why he took the Xbox knowing it was supposed to be a gift for my brother. He said he knew, but explained his sister's single mom and couldn't buy any gifts for her son. Nor are they receiving gifts from family since they're all ignoring her after giving her money, so they think they've done enough. He told me he felt sorry for his nephew and wanted to cheer him up, but didn't have money, so he thought that he could send him the Xbox, and then we'll figure out what I'm going to gift my brother together. I told him he had no right to touch the Xbox, and said that what he did was theft, which made him upset and somewhat shocked. He said he was very hurt I essentially called him a thief, when he thought that I cared about our nephew as much as he does. I'd explained my brother does not need the Xbox since he can't find time to play due to his condition, and also not finding playmates also due to his condition. I told him my brother was still capable, and he was making it seem as if he wasn't, but he argued he didn't mean it this way, just that he was hurt I called his good deed theft. But I stood by what I said and demanded he either pay for the Xbox or pay me, but he acted more hurt, calling me callous and mean to take a gift from a child like that. But I said I didn't gift his nephew this device, and so it is not my problem. He gave me complete silence and then went to stay at a hotel for 3 days, saying I was being unfair to him and hurt him deeply. The problem still stands, and he is counting on me to let it go and see that he was just helping a sister and nephew out. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. How can he afford a hotel for 3 days but not an Xbox? This was my first thought. My second is file a police report. OP, file a police report. Seriously. Also, call the sister and tell her that the Xbox is not a gift for her son, and if she doesn't return, you'll file against her for receiving stolen property. Then break up with your boyfriend, as he has no respect for you. He stole your stuff and insulted your brother. He thinks his family is more important than yours. Not stay home. Demand the money back. And you're not taking a gift from a child. He was the one who took a gift from your brother. Also, if he can afford to stay in a hotel for a few days out of pettiness, he can definitely afford to pay for his nephew's presents. That last bit. How can you not have money for a gift but you can go stay at a hotel? even without the rest of the foolishness is saying that makes him the a-hole. You're definitely not the a-hole, OP. Not the a-hole. You should seriously rethink this relationship. Your fiancé is a thief and now is trying to gaslight you. Red flags. And pretty freaking ableist, thinking a child with a heart condition is too disabled to 1. Have friends and 2. Enjoy video games. He thinks his non-disabled nephew is more deserving of an expensive gift. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not paying for my date? So me 26 male and Kyla 24 female matched on a dating app. We messaged a few times but nothing really happened from it. Couple months later, we see each other at a mutual friend's wedding. We talk most of the night and have a great time. I ask for Kyla's number from our mutual friend. We text for a few weeks and eventually make plans to meet. We have plans to meet for drinks and she cancels last minute. Basically 10 minutes before we are set to meet for dinner, Kyla tells me something came up and can't make it. I tell Kyla it's fine, and she starts taking longer to text, is short and less engaged. Eventually Kyla quits responding and I move on. A week later, she calls to apologize and asks if we can meet up again. I agree only because my friend's new wife convinced me. Date comes and it started off rocky. Kyla showed up late saying traffic was bad. She brought up her past relationships constantly and it made me uncomfortable. She did apologize for canceling the first date, saying she was nervous. She also had multiple drinks at a shot. I only had 2 drinks. She was also on her phone. Not the whole date, but enough for me to notice. Things weren't going well and the conversation was stiff. When the bill comes, they ask how we're doing it, and I say split it. Kyla looks at me and says, I didn't actually bring my wallet. At this point, I'm just done and says, I'm sorry, but I'm not paying, and I don't think this is gonna work. I paid my bill and left while Kyla sat there. My friend's wife calls me that night yelling at me, calling me an a-hole. I guess Kyla's sister had to come bring her money, and I've been called an a-hole by some of the friend group. Am I? Not an a-hole. What kind of idiot doesn't bring any money at all to a date? It was really presumptuous of her to expect you to pay in the first place. Not bringing her wallet is just downright manipulation. Good for you for sticking to your guns. I am 33 and from my experience in dating during my generation, whoever invites the other out is the one who is expected to pay. Expected is in quotes because it is not a requirement. Not only is Opie not an a-hole, she invited him out this time and should have paid herself if the check was not split. Not an a-hole. Edit. The word expected was in quotes because I couldn't think of another word to use, but splitting is still the standard. If anyone pays for the whole thing, it's the inviter. This isn't required but is polite. That being said, it isn't impolite to split either. Not an a-hole. Nobody should show up to a date without money to pay their fair share. Exactly. And at 24, it's easy to be mistaken for 20. How do people go out drinking without identification? Not an a-hole. Nobody forgets their wallet. If I canceled on someone at the last minute, I would welcome the chance to treat them. Edit. If she had her phone, she could have offered to Venmo or Cash App. Yep, I don't understand why no one brought up Venmo. If I'd honestly forgotten my wallet or card, I'd just tell my dates as soon as I realized and ask if I could Venmo them if they're able to cover the tab. Then there would be no a-holes. Next story. Am I the a-hole for being an ungrateful, spoiled brat for the Christmas gift my husband got me? I, female 35, want to begin by saying that in every holiday, me and my husband, male 33, we both work decent jobs, set separate budgets for gifts. He uses his own money to buy gifts and I do the same. We've been married for almost a year, together for 3, and this is our first Christmas as married couple. He made a list of every person he wanted to buy a gift for. I stumbled upon this list by accident and out of curiosity, decided to take a look. I found that his friends/coworkers were on top of his list with gifts that cost over $5,000 total. For example, he got a $600 wristwatch for his coworker, a $250 bracelet for his sister-in-law, and a $900 workout gear for his friend. There was more, but that's all I could remember. What made me upset was that when I got to my name, I saw that he bought me a $20 something kitchen spoon set. Stainless steel. I was too shocked to ignore this, and I had a confrontation with him about it. He argued that A, it's his money, he's the one paying, so I should not control that, and B, his coworker/friends are important to him and has known them for ages. See, he said a gift should be appreciated no matter what it cost. I argued that he was disrespecting me and dismissing my feelings with the gift he chose to get me. Not to mention that I spent a lot of money for his gifts to buy him his favorite shoe/gaming brands. But he got upset and said I was acting like an ungrateful spoiled brat and urged me to get rid of this attitude and accept what I'm giving. The argument got worse and we stopped talking to each other. He still says I'm being ridiculous with my overreaction and should stop. Did I overreact? Now for the comments. There's still time to return his gifts and get him a $20 gift card to the local home improvement store. Not stay home. Yep, it would be one thing if she was a spoon collector, and while cheap, the set was unique and interesting, or just something she really wanted. He's putting no thought into it. He gave her what you'd give someone you didn't know that well as a housewarming gift. Also, it's a kitchen utensil, so he's buying something for the house rather than something his wife personally likes. Girl, if you're gonna be the last thing on his priority list, better give him nicely wrapped divorce papers this Christmas. Not stay home. This right here. He basically give you a box of red flags for Christmas. Take the hint and kick this guy to the curb. Not stay home. I'm stunned reading that the most important person in his life is worth less thoughtfulness than a coworker, which can come and go. In most marriages, assets are considered jointly, and spending decisions are made jointly as well within a certain limit. His Christmas spending, even with a huge income, seems very excessive to me, and kinda inappropriate/unprofessional, especially if they can't reciprocate on that level. I'd question if the coworker is just a coworker. I want to know how many of these people he's sleeping with. $900 on a coworker? Last story. Am I the a-hole for not getting my friend a $200 gift and making her feel unloved? My 28 male friend, 27 female, is usually a very kind person. But we recently got into a stupid argument and I wanted to post it here. My friend is obsessed with the 5 love languages. She always asks people what their love language is, and she does her best to show love by using your love language. She says that her love language is receiving gifts, so everyone should put a lot of thought into her gifts. I thought I put a good amount of thought into her gift. She likes this one brand of artisan coffee from a local shop, so I bought her a big bag of that coffee from the store and a nice mug to go with it. It cost about $45 in total. We did our gift exchange 1 week ago and she seemed disappointed when she opened her gift. I asked her what was wrong, and she asked how much I spent on the gift. I told her the price, and she said she expected a nicer gift, preferably about $200. She said that my cheap gift meant that she felt unloved, because receiving gifts is her love language. That admittedly pissed me off. I called her selfish and materialistic, and took the coffee and mug from her. I figured if she didn't want it, she shouldn't have it. I left without opening my gift, and now we haven't spoken in a few days. Am I the a-hole? She clearly thinks I am, but I think she's more of the a-hole here. Not the a-hole. Those who have gift-giving as their love language don't care about its monetary value but about its thoughtfulness and meaning, and your gift was very thoughtful. She's just a materialistic a-hole. Just this. Your friend's explanation of my love language is gifts and then demanding expensive gifts as a means to show your love back is just utter BS. I'd be curious to know just how kind she is in other regards. And I'll be honest here, I'd look at the examples very carefully to see if it's really a case of manipulation rather than true kindness. Agreed. She gives off the vibe of, I did all these nice things for my friends, so I deserve nice gifts. So entitled. I'm so happy took the gift back. Not stay home. She's ridiculous. And one of the many people who weaponize the love languages concept instead of using it for its intended purpose. See also, giving gifts isn't my love language, so you're not allowed to expect gifts from me ever. Tell her your love language is brand new cars. Exclusively. Anything pre-owned would be a slap in the face.